Okay, who here hasn't been to space?
Why?
You better not throw up on my ship.
Approaching jump in 3, 2, 1.
Well, we are going to move into our last and final topic here, and that last topic is going to be just going over to answer some of the things I was just going over a few minutes ago with people asking about T'Challa and are we going to see this, are we going to see that? Well, let's get into what E-Man. So E-Man released his the part 2 to the interview that he did with Nate Moore. So we are going to watch, just because I think it's only 2 minutes here, 2 minutes of what the interview is, and then after that we will go into discussing what Nate Moore said within this interview. So we'll dive into that.
In mind, and given the post-credit scene, can you talk about, like, did the fan desire influence any of that, or talk about what does legacy mean given the ending of the film?
Look, the ending of the movie, ironically, at least the idea of that character that we introduced at the end was actually in the drafts before he passed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I think it's, interestingly enough, the original version of this movie was T'Challa meeting this person for the first time and having to reconcile being a father. So it wasn't a reaction to anything. It was actually an idea that was about renewal already. It was about the notion that, in canon, obviously he was gone for 5 years, and he missed something. He missed this thing. There was this person out there he didn't know existed, and so we retain that because it is, in either version, it's about loss, but also the triumph that can come out of loss. And it didn't seem like we should take it out.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
right.
And it certainly, I think, is an interesting place to find Nakia.
For sure.
Yeah. Ironically, not a reaction to anything online. It was sort of it was an idea that Ryan had a year before.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's fair.
Yeah.
All right. Look, we have Wakanda.
Yep.
We have black women. We have new character.
Yep.
And we got mutants. So I gotta ask you. Now here's the thing. In the comics, black love is something so significant that I think resonated with the culture. And of course that came with Storm and T'Challa. Is the theme of black love being portrayed on screen something that you guys think about? And when is Storm coming?
Those are two different questions.
I know.
Certainly the theme of black love is important, and it was important in the first movie, if you think about it, with T'Challa and Nakia.
For sure.
And again, when we talk about the end of the movie, has a manifestation beyond their relationship. I think when is Storm coming is a whole different conversation. But no, look, we love the X-Men. I love the X-Men personally. It is now a matter of time. It's not a if, it's a when, but it's not going to be tomorrow. And, Namor is Marvel's first mutant, very, very publicly, and we wanted to honor that, and certainly Tenoch was very excited to say those words, and I'm excited to hear them. So it is important of things to come, but people may have to be more patient than they want to be.
Said that guy is full of shit.
Yes, Nate Moore is Nate Moore eats, breathes, swims and shit.
I don't know how E-Man can sit across from him and have such a cordial. But it's called being an adult. I get it, but
and why? Why do we need the young T'Challa? Right? At this point,
we don't.
Yeah.
Not this way.
No.
I wanted Azari. I didn't want anyway. But his son Azari was Storm. Hearing Ryan Coogler say a few weeks ago that this film was going to be a T'Challa vehicle. It was going to be centered around T'Challa, diving into that character more, diving into him as a character and dealing with, obviously, the ramifications from episode. The first BP, where you opened up Wakanda, that's something that is heavy within the BP comics. It's his relationship with his people. As a ruler, and just everything there. So, and then knowing too that was taken off the screen and then rewritten, and then knowing that my favorite superhero that I now don't get to see his stories played out, or any of stories that you could have told played out on the screen because you've decided to kill the character off. And then you throw in the fact that he's got a son he's never met. I thought, again, is that not a plot hole? And correct me if I'm wrong, because I've not seen Wakanda Forever besides the things I saw before I walked out and the things I saw when I came back in. But he said there that he didn't get to meet his son. Didn't Nakia not say his father prepped us for this?
Yeah.
So plot holes, even when, because that's what I mean when I say. That's what I say when I say this man is lying constantly. I can't necessarily put validity on that's a lie. That was not in the script before. I don't know. But when you go on and say he didn't meet his son, but the movie that you just forcefully shoved in our faces with how morbid it was and injecting real life into the film, you put in your mid-credit scene that I'm sure was rushed at the last minute. I don't know that for sure, but I'm thinking that your Baba prepared us for this. He prepared them for death. So in order for him to prepare them for that, he would have had to have met his son at some point. Now, let's move it here. The boy is what, 6? I think they established he was like 6 or 5. Then Nate Moore said that that was when T'Challa was in the blip and all this kind of stuff. I don't know. I just think, I think that things are being said to have to cover your ass on all the things that you're having to keep up with from lie 1 to lie 2 to on and on and on and on. And it's one of those things to me, again, now you've got the stereotype that I've talked about before. You've got the absentee father. You've got the absentee baby daddy. Yeah, and then you double down on it. And
I just also don't think why. I don't understand why T'Challa wouldn't think that Wakanda is not the safest place in the world for his son to be, with the best education.
Yep.
With the best everything.
Yep.
It goes against everything T'Challa stands for.
Especially in the first film.
Son. Like, another deal too is, they said we want to keep him here to avoid the pressures of the throne, right? A throne that he will one day assume. And you want him to avoid it? No, T'Challa would want to get ahead of it. To teach him the ways. To teach him how to be a leader.
Right, because he didn't agree with how his father handled things.
Exactly.
He didn't agree with that. When he was in the ancestral plane, he yelled at all the former Black Panthers. They were all wrong. He wanted...
Mm-hmm.
So
and then for you to come in
his whole argument with Killmonger, too, it didn't...
Then for you to come in and completely change everything, and I've said this before, I'm going to keep saying it, to completely come in and change a script. I said this the last time we talked about BP. This was Chadwick Boseman's last piece of work. That script that he helped you write for however many years, I don't know, was Chadwick Boseman's last piece of work. In your thought process, Coogler, Nate, whoever's decision it was,
yeah, let's change it.
Came to, you know what? I want to honor him this way by telling my story. By injecting my feelings, because it was all about me, my, injecting my feelings into a fictional story that this man that I'm claiming to honor, I'm claiming as my brother and friend, he put his heart into, I'm sure, because he knew and cared about this character, put his heart into that, and I'm sure even more so knowing, because Chadwick wasn't blind, he knew he was on his way out. So knowing he was on his way out, I'm sure he put his soul into that script. And for you to take that script, crumble it up, toss it to the side, say, be damned, I'm going to inject your real life tragedy into a fictional film, is weird.
Right, but that also goes back to, to double down on that. Again, he loved that first script. He agreed with it. Him and Ryan wanted to do it. It was a greenlit. It was a great idea from what we heard, right? Chadwick loved it. And the problem with this movie, regardless of whether you want to add TJ in during both of them or however you want to do it, right? I mean, it would have probably made more sense if at the end Nakia showed back up because she'd been gone doing something, right? Doing her spy thing or however she wanted to do it and said to T'Challa, you have a son. I was scared of the pressures of the throne, so I have kept him, but it's wrong, or however you want it, regardless, right? The point is you took a movie that would have been the legacy of your friend, right? The dying of the work he worked on. Now, it wouldn't be his dying work, like this is the greatest thing he's ever done, or the most important thing of his career, but the thing y'all did together before he died, the thing y'all made together, the sensational thing y'all made together, and you made it the whole movie, you scrapped the whole movie, and you made it a tribute to your dead friend. It's not good.
No, it's
the
not. The
decision you made, while, don't get me wrong, you know, it's one of them things where if I was doing this for my friend that died, right, and I'm doing this, sure, if you came up to me and were like, hey, this is a bad idea, like, la-da-da, I might get mad at you, I might get defensive, it might hurt my feelings, but sometimes you need to hear that shit. Like, again, T'Challa and Chadwick are different people. One is not a person. One is a fictional
I don't even know if I can say that anymore. I don't know.
Well, no, I mean, they made them synonymous.
Well, no, I'm just saying, I don't know if I can, like, because, it honestly, what are we, how many months in are we? Like, well, since talking recast, as in getting closer to the, since the film's come out, honestly, or not honestly, but moving up to the film, how many months have we been talking recast? I don't know, because when you say Chadwick is T'Challa, for me, it's becoming now one of those things where I want to schedule a counseling session.
Isn't T'Challa.
Or isn't T'Challa. No. When people say Chadwick is T'Challa, I want to schedule a counseling session for you. Because if you are viewing this man, and there are people that do, bro. I'm not just, like, they're not just figuratively saying it. They mean Chadwick is T'Challa. And I'm just like, that's for another conversation. That's a wider conversation. But to take it back to what I've said before with Ryan Coogler, this obviously gives you even more proof that they are moving on with little TJ. That's going to be his story. So they're going to take T'Challa's stories from the comics. They're going to inject little TJ into them as if they were him. You listen to what Ryan Coogler was saying in that interview, that T'Challa grew up without his father. What is little TJ doing now? Growing up without his father. What's little TJ going to have to do? Earn the throne. He's gonna have to. He's not because he's not gonna inherit. Well, I'm sure the way they'll do it, he'll inherit it, because with M'Baku being, he's gonna be king of Wakanda. I'm sure. With M'Baku being king of Wakanda, and knowing his relationship with BP, why would he not just give the throne to the boy? You know. So I guess inherit, earn, whichever word you want to use. In the comics, it's earn, but inherit maybe, in the MCU.
Unless M'Baku has children, and
I just don't see M'Baku. And if they do that, then what are you doing with the movie at that point?
Civil War.
Then what are you doing with the movie at that point?
Go in House of Dragon, Game of Thrones on it.
Yeah. No one's interested in that. Like, I'm not interested in that.
Well,
so
you mentioned the counseling session. Here's what I'm. So I was taking time to pull this up because someone had commented on a Facebook page I'm in, right? And they were like, oh my God, I don't know if y'all seen Wakanda Forever, but I loved it. And I was like, I had the exact opposite reaction, right?
Oh, I don't even comment on those.
Right, but here's what I'm saying about how disconnected, where she's like, really, I can see what you mean for some people, but I thought it was cute. And I was like, I don't know what's cute about a bunch of Black Death and plot holes. Like, it just didn't sit right with me. So, yeah, I definitely understand that. It felt rushed at some points, and a lot of it felt unnecessary, but I still loved it. And I'm like, so you're saying there were plot holes, things didn't make sense, it was unnecessary, there was a lot of Black Death, but it was cute and you loved it in the same fucking breath? That's what I was saying about the cognitive dissonance of people are gatekeeping this to where if you have anything to say, it's like, well, you're disrespecting Chadwick Boseman with your opinions. And it's like, get the fuck out of here, bro. Sorry, I got all that hype, but that's how they act. I mean, it's literally like if I'm like, hey, this plot didn't work, how dare you say that about Chadwick Boseman? That's not what I'm saying. Like, it's synonymous now.
Yeah,
there is no separation anymore.
I'll give you some advice from a veteran recaster. Stay out of those conversations. Like, honestly. Because it took me time to understand that these people simply don't want to understand. So why argue with someone who does not care, who will never understand? They don't get it because they see two things. Chadwick Boseman, three things. Chadwick Boseman, 2018, Black Panther. I love that fucking film. That's all they see. So save your energy, save your finger space energy and all that. I don't. Like, I'm telling you, go look at our comments. When people come in and they get the same generic reply. Go off, king. Depending on your gender. Go off, queen. I'm not going to argue with you because you're not going to change my mind and I'm sure not going to change yours. But you watched my entire video. Thanks for the view.
Right.
So I don't care to have those conversations. But to take it back to what Ryan Coogler was saying about the whole, and good on you for going hard, but I don't have that energy for them anymore. What Ryan Coogler was saying about, him or the comic books and everything like that, they're just going to take TJ and they're going to take his story. And so I've seen other people saying too in the past, before we started talking about Storm, before we even saw the film, everybody was assuming that they were going to take TJ and Storm and have them, a younger Storm and a younger the young TJ, meet one another and have a relationship with one another and everything like that. And I've seen some people, even E-Man said it. I don't agree, but I've seen some people saying it. E-Man said it kind of would make sense because, in the comics, I don't want to misquote him, but I believe he said it would kind of make sense. But in the comics, that, they did meet young. T'Challa and Aurora met young. TJ and Aurora didn't. And I get it. It's the MCU. It's not the source material. I understand that. But I don't want to see. It's unnecessary to take this character stories with the logic that Marvel's using. You don't get T'Challa, but you get T'Challa, but not the T'Challa you want, but the T'Challa that we're gonna give you, and then we're gonna give you we're gonna take our T'Challa and give him your T'Challa stories, and you're just gonna have to be happy. I'm like, no, I don't have to be happy.
Why not recast him at that point?
Yeah,
exactly.
It's recasting with extra steps.
Yeah.
Why not recast him at that point? If you're doing all of this X, Y, and Z and all these flips and turns and ninja fucking warrior shit, why would you not just recast the character? It's exhausting. It's hard. It's annoying. I don't agree. I don't agree, and I don't think I ever will agree. I don't think there's ever going to be a point where I'm just going to be like, yeah, especially with the stories you're telling.
Well, and it's also like, look at what they were trying to do at the end of Black Panther 1. At the end of Black Panther 1, they were trying to spread Wakanda to the rest of the world. They were opening up Wakanda. They were starting the scholarship program, right? Which would have led right into an Enemy of the State 1. There would have been a death. He would have been in America. The whole thing is about his Wakanda having issues with America. Then you turn around and it would have been the perfect time to inject Namor because, as you saw with the UN, they get more unstable, things get more untrustworthy. That leads to Enemy of the State 2. That's the path they were going. They don't have to say it, you can see it. That's how it's established within the comics. But more importantly, he was trying to bring Wakanda out, share Wakanda with the world, actually cause positive change. He was doing, and this would have also led to what? The civil war within Wakanda, where they're arguing with him over whether what he's doing is right or not, because they don't agree with his decisions. None of it had anything to do with what happened in that fucking movie.
No.
So everything you built on, everything you were going to continue to build on, continue to show, you've lost now. And not only that, you didn't... If I watch Black Panther 1 without any knowledge... I always use the example of think about someone's kids, like someone 10, 20 years down the road, right? Who really doesn't know who Chadwick Boseman was, doesn't know that he passed away, right? Doesn't know any of that. And they're just watching the Marvel movies. They watch Black Panther 1, and they watch 2. You think they're going to be like, what the fuck happened? This is the biggest departure. It's a complete fuck... they'd be so damn confused. And you upended the whole series you started. Every single plot thread you started in the first movie was done away with in the second because this man passed away, and I think it's ridiculous. Because what they were building was fucking cool.
Yeah.
Cool on so many levels. On cultural levels, on, just on so many fucking levels, and you just got rid of it.
And, the whole... let me see.
And don't get me wrong. Seeing a Suri Black Panther, at least donning the suit, is not the problem for me. Because they could have had an awesome time because it is also in the comics, not Shuri taking over as Black Panther, but you know what I'm saying? Shuri having to help her brother. Them having to lean on each other as siblings and figure out how to correctly lead and support each other together. A king and you know what I'm saying? Them lifting themselves up. You've talked about this many times, right? So I'm sorry, but the short-sightedness of having a Shuri in a suit isn't the issue for me. The issue for me is everything you built up, you let go.
Yeah. No, and I wasn't even going to read this, but I actually want to show this. This is from Screen Rant. And Screen Rant said, how Marvel ends T'Challa, the recast T'Challa debate in Wakanda Forever. So before I even get into the article, I'll say this. Marvel didn't end shit. If anything, they fueled the flames of recast T'Challa, because the film that you released didn't give me hope. It didn't silence me. It didn't have me going home scratching my head thinking, am I wrong? And do I need to sit back and no, it had me enraged, ready to go even harder for recast. And you know, I've seen people say, well, the movie's out now. Are you still? Yes. Because there's still a BP3 that they want to do. There's still a BP4 that they want to do. They're still doing Secret Invasion, Secret Wars, all these stories that tie directly into Wakanda and T'Challa. So yes, I'm still going to be screaming recast T'Challa. But this says, since the passing of Chadwick Boseman in August 2020, there have been some calls to recast his character of T'Challa in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but Black Panther Wakanda Forever puts an end to that debate. Who wrote this? All right, Kayla. Boseman's first appearance as T'Challa in Captain America Civil War in 2016 went on to appear in 3 subsequent films, including the first Black Panther, but passed before Wakanda Forever began filming. Ahead of production, despite some push for it, it was confirmed that T'Challa would not be recast, and Wakanda Forever answers any concerns viewers might have had about the decision by honoring and expanding T'Challa's legacy. It definitely does not. Kayla? We didn't watch the same film, or we don't know the same character. At the time of Boseman's passing, Marvel Studios President Kevin Feige and Wakanda Forever writer Ryan Coogler were unaware of his silent 4-year battle against colon cancer. There were already drafts of the sequel script underway, and included Boseman as T'Challa, with Coogler shared in his tribute for the actor in The Hollywood Reporter. The script we wrote before Chadwick passed was very much rooted in T'Challa's perspective. As Boseman was mourned, many also mourned the potential of that original script and T'Challa as a character specifically. However, Wakanda Forever definitively puts that debate to rest with fitting tributes. I will say this, because to me, that's where the brainwash comes in. That's where the counseling comes in for me. If you found that first scene a fitting tribute, if you found that first scene anything other than disgustingly morbid, you're sick. You're sick. I'm sorry. I don't know any other way to put that. Actually, I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I don't know any other way to put that. Because I was not present for Chadwick's death. I didn't know the man. But with that film, I was present for Chadwick Boseman's death. We were all there. Everybody in attendance, we watched Chadwick Boseman's final moments.
His family had to live through that again.
Yes, his family had to live through that again. Yeah. So no, it's not a fitting fucking tribute. With fitting tributes throughout the movie, as well as the introduction of a character that physically continues T'Challa's legacy, the movie manages to successfully honor Boseman in his character's influence and role within the MCU. Bullshit, Kayla.
Goes back to what I said previously too. You shouldn't be tributing an actor in the death of a comic book or in the movie of a comic book character.
Yeah, no.
Sense. I'm sorry, that's like the same people that were like, this is really good because they asked Chadwick's wife what she thought about, and they stayed close to Chadwick's wife during this film and its production. Why? Is this film about Chadwick Boseman or about T'Challa?
Yeah, it's all weird.
But that's the thing, because it makes me sound like an asshole, right? But I'm like, you can make a whole movie about Chadwick Boseman, and I'd watch it and love it, and it'd be great, like a tribute to his life. But this is a comic book movie. That's what I'm here to see, is a fucking superhero do flips and shit and fight bad guys. Like,
let me.
Obviously, I'm trivializing it a little bit, but I'm just saying, like, it just.
No, I get what you're saying.
They were close in touch with his family, his wife, his business partner, the whole time they were making this movie to make sure they honored him correctly. But it's like, what does his business partner and his wife have to do with making a good Black Panther film? Did they write Black Panther?
But even then,
were they editors for Marvel for Black Panther? Like,
but even then, they still listen to nothing. It's my understanding
his
that
brother
you
and
correct
his
me if I'm
niece.
wrong, but yeah, that they follow nothing that Chadwick wanted.
No,
and his
Like
brother
I
and his
said,
niece
so
wanted
why-
a recast.
no.
I mean, yeah, you're there by their side or whatever. You say you are, but
Are you?
are you? Right.
And then it goes on to say here, read these last two paragraphs. It said, Black Panther changed the MCU and the lives of many through its representation, and fans who wanted T'Challa recasted feared that some of this representation would be erased through his death. It was. Black Panther first appeared in Marvel Comics in 1966, and while Boseman played him on screen for a few years before his passing, some argue that the character was just a part of his legacy and vice versa. While alive, Boseman had been vocal about the importance of representation in Black Panther as the character, and many believed that recasting T'Challa and allowing the Wakandan king to live on without Boseman would have been a perfect way to honor both him and the characters. The petition description specifically states that they were not calling for an immediate recast, but with the release of Wakanda Forever and eventual recasting has been made unnecessary. Okay. Then this is what it says about why Marvel didn't recast. This is the one I wanted to read here. Though some fans wanted Marvel to recast T'Challa, Marvel ultimately went with a different direction. Coogler appeared on Marvel Studios' Wakanda Forever official podcast. That was a few weeks ago. We covered that ahead of the theatrical release of Wakanda Forever, and said the following: Boseman's death. They had to consider every possible option for the sequel, including recasting. However, on Disney Investor Day 2020, Feige first made the announcement that Marvel would not be recasting the role of T'Challa in Wakanda Forever, saying that Boseman's portrayal of T'Challa, of the Black Panther, is iconic and transcends any iteration of the character in any other medium from Marvel's past, and it's for that reason that we will not be recasting the character. Feige added that the loss of Boseman was affecting those at Marvel, both professionally and personally, and they would continue to explore the world of Wakanda and its characters and Black Panther Wakanda Forever as a way of honoring him. It's a complicated thing to even say, Coogler said on the podcast about potentially recasting T'Challa. However, Coogler didn't believe in the idea and knew that if he didn't believe it, no matter how good the actor, I covered that one, no matter how good the actor who was recast as T'Challa was, no matter how good the actor was, it would have been lacking the necessary truth for us to do a good job. It must have lacked because you still didn't. Ultimately, recasting T'Challa would have hurt the story's believability. Ultimately, did he say this? Did I read this?
Read that one more time.
Ultimately, recasting T'Challa would have hurt the story's believability and been too emotionally difficult for those involved.
So watching the watching the casket lift and turn and present to you while flying away wasn't fucking emotionally jarring for enough people? Jeez.
Oh
God. They told you, and I meant to tell you this too. They said stop rubbing the mic because you're making noise to where they can't hear me.
Which one, me or
me?
Oh, okay.
I fidget.
Yeah, that's interesting. That it's interesting, but not interesting. Yeah. Hold on. Wakanda Forever. No, not reading that part. I don't care. Oh, I do want to read this though. This last part. This one says Prince T'Challa can continue T'Challa's story. While Marvel did not recast T'Challa for Wakanda Forever in a traditional sense of the word, the post-credit scenes revealed that there is still a T'Challa in the MCU following the events of Avengers Infinity War and the Blip. Nakia disappeared, heartbroken by the loss of her lover T'Challa, who did not survive the initial snap in Wakanda Forever. In Wakanda Forever, she is found in Haiti. In the post-credit scene, she reveals she had not been living alone, but with their son. I forgot how he pronounced the first name. With Prince T'Challa, little TJ of Wakanda. In the scene, little TJ meets his aunt Shuri, and Nakia tells her that T'Challa had wanted their son to grow up away from the pressures. Away from the pressures. He would have been under as the Prince of Wakanda, which is why they stayed in Haiti and why Shuri did not know of the existence until then. Though Shuri became the new Black Panther following the death of Queen Ramonda, she made the decision to give the throne to M'Baku at the end. Really? That wasn't... Okay. That
wasn't stated at all.
Yeah, at all. At just about 6 years old, Prince T'Challa is still too young to take on the royal duties, but with time, he could one day grow up to be king of Wakanda and perhaps even the Black Panther like his father, Prince T'Challa. Well, Prince T'Challa will not only be able to carry on his father's name, but his legacy as well, which puts an end to the debate around recast T'Challa. Well, let me explain something to you, Miss Kayla. That does not, and that absolutely does not in any way. I hate that she took so much time on this article. I hate that she had to go in and I'm sure she did hours of research. She only posted this gem 13 hours ago.
I mean,
I'm sure she did hours of research. I'm sure she did. She went into the petitions and everything like that. She pulled up hashtag recast T'Challa, pulled up a lot of things she put in a lot of work to say fucking nothing. She put in a lot of work to say things we already knew that happened in the film, just to end it with saying to end your poor argument with, this is why the debate is put to rest. You giving me a bastard child playing on tropes within the community, completely erasing what Chadwick himself wanted, completely erasing 50 plus years of this character's history, does not put the debate to rest. If anything, as I said, it fans the flames. That's it.
Right. Well,
That's it. So
I think what this person's trying to say is what you said earlier, where you said, I can't remember who it was, but somebody asked if, due to the Bob Iger being back, if we'd get a new T'Challa, right? And you said no, because they've told us what your recast is TJ. That's their decision, right? So I think that's what this person is trying to say is...
that's what they're trying to say.
They laid it to rest.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether you agree or disagree, or it's your opinion or not your opinion, the debate is dead because Marvel said this is what you're getting and they will not change it.
Yeah. No.
Does that mean they're right? No. But does that mean that is what we're going to get? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I completely understand. That is what they're getting. That's what they're saying. That's why I said to you guys before we even walked in the theater, I've seen the mid-credit scene. Had I not bought my ticket, if I did not have this YouTube channel, I would have been good on that movie. I didn't need to see that movie after I saw the mid-credit scene, and then after the shit you put me through in the first 2 minutes and 30 seconds, I really didn't need that shit. Fuck you. I will never, ever, 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 and I mean that, I've still not seen Morbius, ever view that film again. Ever. Ever. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on E-Man's interview with Nate Moore. It's the same for me. Nate Moore is full of shit. He lies. He's thinking of lies to tell right now in the next interview. That mid-credit scene is bullshit. This article by Kayla Lewis is bullshit. It does not put the debate to rest. I will be back, I'm sure, tomorrow, the next day, and next week, or whatever, with more recast stuff. It just does not end. So, and again, I've seen people in the comments, this is the last thing I'm saying, honestly. I've seen people in the comments saying, do what you feel is necessary, but they're not going to recast. Again, I understand, let me make sure I'm wording this correctly. I understand that this is not the same fight that our ancestors fought with, at all. This is not the same fight that our ancestors fought when it came to discrimination and just with the way we were treated as a people. But had our ancestors sat down and said,
well, that's it.
That's it. They don't care. They're not going to budge. Whatever. And it's not the same argument at all. It's not the same. But the plight's the same. What we're saying is, see us, hear what the fuck we're saying as fans, as the ones that are we're lining your pockets. And that's another thing. As for people that are saying, well, stop giving Marvel your money. It has nothing to do with giving Marvel my money. Now, for that particular franchise, I'm done. BP3, miss me. Wakanda series or whatever, I won't be tuning in. If T'Challa walks on screen, you've got my attention. If T'Challa's in BP3, I'm not talking TJ, you've got my attention. But until T'Challa, King T'Challa, T'Challa born, the firstborn king, the only fucking T'Challa, the fuck am I saying?
T'Challa Senior.
The only T'Challa. When he steps back on the screen, I'm there. Yeah. But until then, no, you don't get my money for BP. Anything BP you do, you don't get my money. And people out there might be saying, oh, Marvel doesn't give a fuck because they're still... You're right. Good on them. My little $16 IMAX ticket don't mean shit to them. You're right. But at the end of the day, if enough people are sitting there not viewing Wakanda or anything Wakanda related in the MCU, they have no choice but to bend the goddamn knee and give people what they want. That's what it comes down to. They have no choice but to bend the knee and give people what they want. So no, I can't, bro. I just that right there. I didn't read that earlier. Silver Wishes, shout out if you're watching. Silver Wishes sent that to me on Twitter and said you might want to read this. I hadn't read it until just now. That's some bullshit. So I'm done. I'm done.
So he said at the beginning that was always in the script. To have TJ. Mm-hmm. The way it was thrown out at the end, and how it was just like, bam, there it is. Oh, here you go, fans. Here's your T'Challa. It makes me think that it wasn't.
Right. I don't think it was, man.
Right.
Like I said, I can't earlier, speak to it, but
I think it could have been in the sense of towards the end, she's like, T'Challa, you have a son. Like, this is why I've been away from y'all. I was scared for him in Wakanda with all the changes.
I'm sorry, I don't even like that.
I'm not saying I like it. I'm just saying I guess that could work. But I feel like you
I just don't know what it... But why did we have to do that? Why couldn't the kid... If you want to give him a kid with Nakia, again, if you want to... That's fine. But
everyone... But why not wants to see him with Storm.
But yeah, that's right. But if you want to give him a kid with Nakia, because you've already established that relationship within your universe, that's fine. Why does the kid have to be hidden? Why do we have to go through all... Why can't the kid just be born in the capital, in fucking in the bed of a king? Like, why does he have... Why is the kid born in the jungle where nobody knows? Like, to me, that's stupid. The kid should have just been born in the capital. It should have been if you wanted to do a kid, make it a celebratory event. The king had a prince, and not the king had a prince. Like, the fuck? Yeah. Like, get out of here. Like, stop, bro. Like, stop.
T'Challa would never have done that.
Yeah, no.
We'll see your...